In this video, we're going to take a look at tonal balance control. And this comes with Neutron 2 Advanced and Ozone 8 Advanced. It's a great way to check your mix's tonal balance against other mixes. Now, when iZotope created this device, they referenced a bunch of mixes to find their average tonal balance. They then split those referenced mixes into 3 different categories. We have bass heavy, modern, and orchestral. Bass heavy being hip hop or EDM, stuff like that. Modern being rock or pop. And then orchestral being classical type stuff. And as we switch between the 3, we can see that their frequency makeup changes. So let me explain what's happening down here. We have our frequency spectrum split into 4 different blocks. And within those blocks, we have a range. This is where typical bass-heavy mixes, that's where their tonal balance sits. And this will make more sense after I hit play. Okay, the white line is our mix. We can see that our lower frequencies is living in the average, our low mids are living in the average, and so on and so forth. If we compare this to orchestral, we can see our low mids are a bit low compared to other mixes. We can see the bass is a bit loud compared to other orchestral mixes. Let's say our type of music, our genre, does not fit into one of those 3 categories. Maybe we're doing jazz, maybe we're doing Latin or something like that. That's just not one of these 3 different modes or types. We can actually go and create our own curve from an audio file, or we could select a bunch of different audio files and create our own curve. We can then save that and use that as a reference. We can also look at fine view. So right now this is split into 4 different bands or 4 different slices. Let's go to fine. And here we can see exactly which frequencies might be problematic. We also have this crest factor over here on the left. This is a great way to see how your low end is performing. It can help you determine if your low end is a bit too dynamic. It would be over on this side. If it's a bit too compressed, it would be over on this side. And we can see we are living, looks like we might be okay. Yeah, it's right there in the middle. But let's say we're not okay. Let's say our low mids are a little bit too hot, which they seem to be. Well, let's fix that right from tonal balance control. We can select an instance of Neutron 2 or an instance of Ozone 8 right within this plugin. So let's go to our 808 and look, we have something familiar. We have the EQ section from the 808 instance of Neutron. Again, very helpful when your instances are named correctly. We have access to these nodes and bands. We can turn on soft saturation. We can even get to the dynamic section of the EQ and the sidechain section. So it's very useful within tonal balance control. Now maybe this is a mastering EQ problem. Here's the EQ section from Ozone on the master bus right here. Maybe we want to do that a little bit. Maybe we want to do that a little bit. These are big moves for mastering, but just as an example. We can also bypass and see how we're doing. Now, that's using Neutron 2 and Ozone 8 within tonal balance control. We can also use that mix tap. So here's that mix tap. Of course, we don't have an EQ section in the mix tap. We can see how that clap is affecting our tonal balance. We also have the transient shaper, which which is instantiated as a standalone plugin and available to all the advanced license holders. And we can see how the signal coming into the transient shaper is affecting our tonal balance. Let's say we had 4 or 5 different plugins here from Neutron. We can see at each stage how they're affecting this tonal balance. And one thing I want to let you know is that this is measuring the tonal balance of our entire mix. So it has to be after any processing. If we're using Ozone 8 to do some mastering, tonal balance control has to be after it. If we're using any type of speaker or headphone calibration, we have to use tonal balance control before that. So check out tonal balance control, compare your mixes to what Isotope has referenced, or maybe some of your favorite mixes. Maybe you want to A/B compare and see how yours does. Next up, let's talk about the visual mixer. I'll see you then.